Microphone check. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm getting levels. Maybe. Okay. Do you need some headphones to check? Okay. Do we have extra headphones in the bag? Okay. One more microphone check. Spencer Danielson, signing day press conference. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check.
I have a question for people who my internet Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm going to use my camera before me.
Probably what did,
Right?
right? So this at the table. Yeah, because I think that's your issue. You don't have your output. You have this. Makes me like Yeah.
Appreciate you guys being here as always. Hopefully some people in the room will get a little bit of time off for Christmas. I know you guys are always on the hustle, but very proud of our staff. I mean, especially with some of the uncertainties that happen throughout the season. You look at the majority of these guys we've been on and recruited and committed for a long time, and some of them that have been on official visits that maybe weren't committed to us. We're able to watch us play, watch how we were able to operate, and then ended up committing to us here recently. So very proud of our staff. They did a great job. Our whole recruiting department worked their tail off. And not only do we have really good football players on this list, we've got really great young men that want to be in Boise. And that's the thing. All of them have opportunities to go other places. All of them have other things that were pulling them in different directions. And through the whole time, they wanted to be here. They felt in their heart, this is where they're supposed to be. And that's what makes us different. It's finding young men that want to be here, that know the work, that know what it takes, but that Boise State's different. Playing in front of Bronco Nation is different, and it matters to these kids. And so can't wait to get them here.
Spence, are you the kind of coach that wants a quarterback in every class? Do you kind of want the quarterback to be that first commit to kind of mold the class around?
Yeah, Ron, it's all about the right fit. And especially at quarterback, any position, it's all about the right one, not one that we can get first or from a timing standpoint. Obviously, the quarterback's the shot caller and our whole team is involved with him, but it's finding the right one. And Caleb's a phenomenal young man. Coach Hammond did a great job through the recruiting process. He came up on campus, and he's a perfect fit for us, and he's going to thrive and develop here.
What about him makes him a perfect fit?
First off, just his mental makeup. I mean, a young man that's developed his entire time, and when you're around him, he's a natural leader. Even the small things, like we would go to dinners together where it's a buffet style, and he would wait for everybody to go in front of him, and he'd go last, right? That's the type of leader that you need, holding the ball every single snap, and he's just that type of kid. Then obviously his skill set in regards to a quarterback, he's only going to develop, but I mean, he's got an elite skill set, and excited for him with Coach Hammond and our offense. I think the sky's the limit for him.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, how will you address the quarterback transfer portal? And is that something you'll still dabble in and look at? And what will you look? What's the criteria for you?
Yep, we're working on it as we speak right now, Mike, and it's obviously a point of emphasis for us going forward. It's all about the right fit, and that can mean a lot of different things, but it's the right fit for us in our current situation where we're at and who fits in that locker room, who fits us schematically, but even more than that, Mike, who fits this place and who wants to be a part of this. So there's a lot of different options out there, but there's only a couple that for us, okay, this fits Boise State and what we're looking to do, and Coach Hammond's done a great job.
Do you feel like you need a transfer portal?
We're definitely looking for the right one. It's all about the right fit. We're not going to take any player at any position just because we quote unquote need one. It has to be the right one, because in this day and age of college football, it's not the right one, they won't be here anyway. So we got to find the right fit.
For you, you guys maintain the integrity of your class through a head coaching change. How were you able to do that, and what was the point of emphasis there to make sure you guys didn't lose anybody?
Yeah, Jay, first off, 100% credit to our staff. And even with all the uncertainty, not knowing what's going on, still staying in contact with these players and these parents. I mean, being able to sit in some of these home visits the week before we play the bowl game, that's a lot of stress on these parents too, because there's uncertainty. You go, obviously, there's more. They didn't just commit here because of a coach, but that's a part of it. That's a relationship that they built, that they trust, that they're handing over their son, that they've worked their tail off to grow and develop for 17, 18 years. And then with uncertainty, if they're even going to be there, to stay committed, our staff did a phenomenal job through all that, through all the ups and downs, and keeping these young men focused on what they can control, finishing their high school football seasons, staying in good standing in the classroom, and staying committed to us was a huge part. And so that's this class. That's who these young men are. Our staff did a great job finding the right fit for our place. And so that's why we can't wait to get them here. So hats off completely to our staff. And then to our current players. A lot of it, too, from conversations is when these parents and players watched our games, they saw the love our players play with, how hard they played. They want to be a part of that, too. So it's our current players, it's our staff. They deserve all the credit.
How raw is Lopez in comparison to maybe when Ahmed showed up?
Mm-hmm.
How much does he have to learn?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely in a similar place. Haven't played a lot of American football, but the sky's the limit for him, similar to Ahmed. Similar in a lot of ways, similar in the fact that grateful for everything, hungry to work in all facets. When you talk to Lopez, everything he's talking about is, I can't wait to get to work. It's not, I can't wait to try on more jerseys or anything, which that's not a bad thing in of itself. He can't wait to get to work. He can't wait to be developed. And that's who he is. And that mentality always works at Boise State. And that doesn't mean that in 6 months he's going to reach his potential. He's not. He's going to be a developmental young man. He's going to thrive here, and it's going to be a process. And we know what that looks like. We know the plan. That's the biggest thing with this is we know exactly what to do, and he's going to thrive in that. It's going to be huge to get him here early. He's going to be here in January. So going through the winter workouts, spring ball, working into summertime, and he'll be ready to play here come fall.
Was Chase Baker the connection there, or what was the connection there?
There was a couple different connections. I mean, Coach Shenander did a phenomenal job in his recruiting process. Coach Zane, one of our graduate assistants, did a great job. Our recruiting department, because obviously when you cast a wide net with even going international, there's a lot of different avenues as we go through. BJ, not exactly sure the first point of contact, but I know working through it with Coach Shenander, Coach Zane, I mean, they did a phenomenal job, not only finding him, but then building that relationship so we know, okay, this young man fits Boise State.
Spencer, it looks like 9 guys are coming in early. 8 of them are on defense. Is that based on design positions of need? It's like, okay, we need immediate help over on defense. And is that part of the negotiation now is I need you here early, let's do it?
Yeah, good question, Mike. It's really twofold. First off would be need. Secondly would be have they set themselves up to be able to graduate early? Because there's some young men just have not, done their core classes. They want to be here early, but they just haven't had enough classes going into their senior year for them to be able to. So it's really twofold, Mike. Usually we look at it, see how many guys in the fronts can we get here? Because the development we can have from an O lineman or a D lineman here early is a big deal. The nutrition, the strength and conditioning. So that's usually where we look at. So it's need-based, but then even more importantly is have they set themselves up to be able to graduate and come in early?
Tell us about Gaines. I don't know if it was coincidental or not, but he decommitted about, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 hours after you were named head coach, and then it wasn't long after that he committed to Boise State. So what can you tell us about him and your connection with him?
Mm-hmm. Sayer is a phenomenal young man, and known him for a long time. And his high school, Orange Vista, is in the area that I actively recruit. It's my area when I was the defensive coordinator going through it. Known him for a long time. He's come up on official visit. He's a phenomenal young man that wants to be the best in all facets, and he has a relentless drive to be elite, which is uncommon. A lot of people want to talk about it, but he's that guy that whenever I call him, no matter what time, he's always leaving a workout or going to one and always wants to grow his game. And so even going through the recruiting process in the summertime, ended up committing somewhere else. But I always knew our staff's done a great job. Coach Montgomery's done a phenomenal job recruiting him, that he fits here. And same thing, he watched our games. He watched our team. He is a very diligent and aware young man that knows what he needs, knows what is a perfect fit for him and his family. And that consistently pulled at his heart. And the more he watched, the more he continued to know, you know what, I need to be at Boise State. Decommitted, called us and said, I'm coming to Boise State. And since that point has not wavered. There's been multiple other schools coming in to try and get him to go there. Has not wavered. Like I said, Coach Montgomery did a phenomenal job with him, continue to build that relationship, and he fits here. He's going to thrive here. And he's going to be a great football player for us, and he's going to be great in our community.
Where do you see him kind of fitting in, I guess?
He has a lot of potential to play on either side of the ball, Jay. That's where I know right now coming in, we're going to start him as a running back. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He can run in between the tackles. That's for sure where he's starting. And that might be where he stays. I mean, he is an elite tailback and elite with the ball in his hands. But he's a darn good defensive player too. He can cover. He can blitz. So when regards to athlete, we're very selective on who we can give that title to when they come in. He's going to start out in the running back room, especially with what Coach Hammond and Coach Montgomery do with those guys. We need a lot of them because they're involved in so many different things. But he can do a lot. And so as he grows and develops, his multiplicity on either side of the ball will grow as well.
Looking at the transfer portal quarterbacks, what, I know NIL has a lot to do with it nowadays, but just the opportunity that you have for significant playing time, potentially a starting spot, how appealing is this offense and this place when you're talking to quarterbacks? I
think there's a ton of appealing things for it, BJ. We've got, pretty much 4 of our 5 offensive linemen that are starters coming back. We got the number 1 running back in the country coming back. We got an offense that has done a phenomenal job. The offensive staff, Coach Hamden, continuing to grow and develop that group and even be more explosive in the future, coming off of a great season they had in 2023. So there's a lot of things that point to this being a great spot for a quarterback as long as it's the right fit for this place. And Coach Hamden, our recruiting department, our offensive staff has done a phenomenal job, even this past couple weeks, just going through all the different quarterbacks that are out there and what fits us. We also got a great quarterback in Maddox Madsen, and understanding him coming back from injury, understand that he's going to be competing as well. And we know he's going to. And so there's a lot of things that are exciting for a young man that wants to come here and compete to win that spot. And especially at Boise State, that's a huge role. Being the starting quarterback at Boise State takes a big time skill set in regards to your mental toughness to be able to lead an offense that will be explosive like we're going to be. And so there's a lot of guys that are excited for the opportunity. Now it's our job to work through those names to find the right fit for us.
What do you think happens is that a short-term thing or something that could linger into the new year or the spring? Or
right now we're still working through the process, BJ. I'm not hiding information from you guys. We do not have one guy that is picked and it's done and we're just keeping it from. We do not. So we're working through a couple different guys that we feel will be good fits here. So if it works obviously ideally we'd want to get a young man here in January to be able to compete in spring ball. But it's all about finding the right one.
Will Maddox be able to throw in spring, or will he be able to do more than throw?
Right now, we're working through it. Hopefully by the end of spring, be able to get some of that in. I know in regards to him playing spring ball, won't be able to do much, Mike, just with the injury and him coming back from. Obviously, our goal is just to make sure he gets 100% healthy. But I know we'll be able to get some throwing in throughout spring. He won't be any of the team periods or that kind of stuff.
In the quarterback room in the spring, it'll be 3, 4.
Yeah, as of right now, obviously, CJ, Cade, Cut, those will be the ones that will be here in spring, barring us bringing in a transfer quarterback in January.
Sounds like you guys have a lot of speed in this recruiting class. What do you like about that? Especially, I guess Cameron Bates sounds like he's going to be a fast guy for you guys.
Yep, you can't teach speed, and we're trying to get as fast as we can in all facets. Obviously, especially at the receiver position. And these young men fit Boise State. Coach Miller did a great job in the recruiting process. There was no hesitation with them. When they committed, they've stayed committed because they know this is the right fit for them and an offense that they know they can thrive in. And so getting guys, obviously, as fast as you can get, the better. And Cameron Bates is just one of those guys. I mean, three of our players are sub-11 guys, which is explosive. And what he does with the ball in his hands is big time. T-Jack, no different. Long, can run. And so those guys are going to help our receiver room a ton.
I asked about the one local kid you got, Trevor McKenna. I know when he recruited, he kind of didn't know if he was going to do offense, defense. What was kind of that process like I guess he's announced as on the defensive line.
So, Trevor and his entire family are phenomenal. They've been here a lot, obviously, from Bora High School, phenomenal family. We've had him at camp. He played some offensive line at camp. We played him a ton of defensive line, went through a lot of different drills. And right now his skill set fits really well with what we're doing defensively in the defensive line room. Does that mean he's never going to leave that? Who knows? It's all about how he develops and grows. But Trevor McKenna is going to be a darn good defensive lineman for. He's going to develop. He's big, he's explosive, he's productive. He's one of the top sack leaders in the entire state, especially a defensive line. It's tough to get done. And so I think the sky's the limit for him in the defensive line.
A lot of these guys were already, committed before he took over as head coach. But what's kind of how do you weigh nowadays with the transfer portal, like trying to get high school guys maybe need a couple years to develop versus, hey, we, have some immediate holes we need to fill in the portal. And do you have any kind of idea, like how many spots you're actually working to try to fill yet, or could some guys still be leaving from this team? Or
yeah, obviously your roster numbers are always a little bit in flux with the transfer portal and some of those things, BJ, and that's always something we're working through. You usually have a pretty good idea of where you're at. But we have a group of players on this team, even with the number of starters we come back, that are coming back, that want to be here. Now it's my job to make sure that we keep them here, that this is a place they continue to know they're being developed, they're being taken care of. And that's multifaceted in this day and age, NIL, all these things. So keeping our players here that have proven that they want to be here, that they make plays on the field, that they're about this, that was goal number one for me. Even before recruiting, it's keep our players here because we are a developmental program. We believe in that. We believe in developing young men on and off the field, BJ. End of story. Like, that's who we are. So finding the right freshmen that are going to come in here and develop and be a part of that and want to stay here and continue to develop throughout their time is our number one goal. Then in that, there are going to be situations that come up where, okay, we're going to need an older guy here because of whatever situation showed up that we got to then go to the portal, junior college to find that need. But it is strictly going to be need-based because of that exact situation. We are not going to go to the portal, junior college, just to, let's just try and find a best available player. We don't believe in that. We're about finding the specific need. If we are going to go to the portal or junior college, we are a developmental program. We develop our current players, and these freshmen, they have not even kind of touched their best football yet. That's our goal, and it's our job to get them there.
So just to confirm, so any player that has eligibility left that wants to come back, you're going to welcome them back? Or?
Yes. Like for me, I want to keep our players here. And guys that have proven that they're a part of that and want to continue to develop and help push this program forward, that's what we're going to do.
But Gaines, what it says athlete, where do you see him fitting?
Yeah, so right now, similar to Jay's question, he's going to start in the running back room, and he's explosive with the ball in his hand, Bob, catching out of the backfield, running between the tackles. So he's going to start in the running back room, and he might never leave. I know Coach Montgomery and Coach Hamden, what they're going to have planned for him in that room, him and Dylan. They're going to be a great addition to that running back room. So that's where he's going to start. But he is a really good defensive player as well. So we'll see if we might sneak him in some packages on third down.
The edge position, you had a couple of those guys. You guys obviously probably knew, but to our surprise today, Joseph Marsh kind of popped up on your guys' commitment list. What is his story? Where did he come from? And then as long as you're talking about the edge position, maybe touch on him too.
Yeah. So Joseph March and Coach Fraser has done a great job through the recruiting process. Is, junior college transfer that does a lot on film. He's off the ball. He's on the ball rushing. He's developed in regards to playing the run that you don't see as a younger freshman, sophomore coming out of junior college. And he loves football. It's in his blood. That's when he came on an official visit, it was all about how can I develop to be the best football player possible. When we have those conversations with a young man, we know they fit here because we can hold them to a high standard. We can pull everything out of them, and that's what we need here. Once again, to my question to BJ, we're a developmental program. And so Joseph coming here, he brings a lot of edge to that room that we're excited to have. He's going to start out at stud, which is our boundary rush end, and he fits there really well. He can play off the ball in some of our 3-4 spacing. He can rush, he can strike, he can set edges, and he's got a lot of development even in his body. He's going to be a big kid, and excited for him to grow. Coach Hilgard's going to do a great job with him here in the spring. He's going to be an early enrollee, so going through the winter conditioning, through spring ball, he's going to be a big part of this game plan going in fall.
How was the NIL and the collective, the money situation, how was that able to impact this class, Spencer?
It didn't impact this class. I'll be honest.
Is getting paid or getting anything?
I say it more as this, is none of these guys are coming here because of what we're paying them above somebody else. And that's a huge deal to me because, and I will be upfront and honest, I am all about taking care of our current players at Boise State. Our guys that ball out on the blue, that do what they're supposed to do on and off the field and make plays for us, we're working our tail off, and we have already set up structures to help take care of them. Then, obviously, with these young men coming in, those have been conversations, and we've worked through that with every single one of these guys and what that looks like when they're here. But none of these guys are here because of that. They're here because they want to be developed. They want to grow on and off the football field. And they know, just like in life, as I grow and develop and play and start and make plays, the money, the NIL, that will be a byproduct of that. And they know that that is why they're here.
You guys have announced several coaching positions the last couple of days. 2 names we haven't heard yet, Nate Potter and Demario Warren. What can you tell us about their status?
Yeah, so as we go through sign contracts, I know we're putting them out through social media. So hang tight. We'll be working through those as they come out, Ron. So I promise you we'll be excited to go through those.
There's another recruiting signing window in February. Do you expect to have any in next week?
So it just depends where we're at going into January, Bob. So there's a couple different positions that we've talked about that we're still working through to get here. Depending how that goes, then it's going to be very specific throughout January. Who are those couple young men that we need to get here in June? And so that will be the point of emphasis. There will be some spring recruiting in regards to getting a jump on the 25 class. That will be a part of our staff and our attack as well. But whatever positions of need that maybe we didn't fill with the right one come January when we start the semester, that will be a big part there. Yeah, Mike.
Back to the roster, the retention of players. Reed, Tubner, and Callahan have said that they want to come back. Can you confirm that those 3 are?
They're coming back. Yep.
What about Dooley, Crow, Dalmas, Card, and Newton? Any decision made on those 5?
I've given them all opportunity to come back, and they've all told me they want to be.
So at this point, all the super senior class should be those 8 guys.
Mhm.
The last edition that you guys just put up, Udoka, a guy looks like came from the transfer portal. Was that just something that came together today, or?
So he's a junior college transfer.
Okay.
And came on an official visit, worked through the process. He's a phenomenal young man. Loves football, strong Christian, strong in his beliefs. He fits a lot what we do defensively. He can rush from on the ball, blitz, run sideline to sideline, and he fits what we do schematically. When he came on his visit, it was very apparent for me and our entire staff that he completely fits this place. And with a highly recruited young man, there's also a lot of other schools that feel the same. But praying about him, I know he is a man of faith, and he prayed about it and went through the process with him and his family. He felt the same way. And he's coming to Boise State, and we're all very excited he's here. He's going to develop, and this is where God wants him to be. And the best is yet to come for him. Sergeant.
On Tyrone Jackson's offer list, and it's pretty impressive. How did you guys get him to commit to you? What was important in that recruiting process?
So Coach Miller does a great job building relationships with his current players and with recruits, and did a great job with T-Jack. Coach Hammond and the offensive staff as well, just painting the picture for him on his development plan when he comes to Boise State. You find the right young men. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but you find the right young men that want to be the best version of themselves, obviously on the football field, scoring the touchdowns, playing in the NFL, but that actually want to put the work in to get that done. Because everybody wants the end goal, but do I actually want to be on the blue in the wintertime when we're training, when the first game is still 8 months away? Those are the guys that fit here. And T-Jack's no different. He had opportunities to go almost anywhere he wanted to. But Coach Miller, Coach Hammond, and our offensive staff, when they paint the picture for what it's like here, how he's going to develop, how he's going to fit in our system, he wanted to be a part of this. And it is a perfect fit.
Hayden Hanks, first commit, I believe, in this class, 8-man football, Montana kid. What have you learned about him from the commit until today?
Yeah. Hayden Hanks is an awesome young man. And a guy that loves football. He came out here during the spring to check it out with his dad and fell in love with the place. Coach Shenander did a phenomenal job through the recruiting process, and he fits here. And he's a guy that his potential's through the roof. I mean, he is a big kid. He's going to grow and develop. He's already strong and explosive. Fine-tuning how he plays this game. I mean, Hayden Hanks is going to play this game at a very high level as he develops here at Boise State. But his recruiting process was that he came here. This was the fit for him and his family. He knew that he'd be developed here. And when he committed, he hasn't wavered. And those are the type of guys that fit here. Our staff's done a great job painting that picture for him of exactly what it is. We don't have any BS when it comes to recruiting. This is exactly what it's going to be. This is how hard it's going to be. This is how many decks you're going to run in the summertime. This is what time we're going to wake you up for practice, for workout. Because then when they come here, the best thing that I get from our freshmen or players that come to the program is, Coach, it's exactly what you told me. There's no smoke and mirrors. This is what it is. Because this place sells itself. Boise, Idaho, Bronco Nation, what we can do. It's a phenomenal place to live. It's a phenomenal place to grow and thrive. So it's our job as coaches to make sure they get the truth, that they get that information. And just using Hayden Hanks as an example, when he came on a trip, Coach Shenander did a great job working through that process with him, and you want to be a part of it.
It was kind of late in the process, and you only had the one extra week because of the championship games. Maybe you didn't do as much recruiting in December as you would have. But being the head coach and only having limited visits and different things for you, what's the process? What was it like different in these last couple of weeks?
Yeah, obviously with playing in a championship, to your point, BJ, and then playing an early bowl game, you really lose a good amount of that recruiting time. So we really had, really 3-4 days to go through recruiting and be on the road. So the point of emphasis for me with our staff was obviously go to see our commits, because our commits have been through a lot. Their parents have been through a lot, sticking with us. They're getting a lot of the news and information on what's going on outside through social media, through different avenues, and that can go a bunch of different ways. Who's going to be the head coach? Who's going to be my son's position coach? Can we still go there? And so that was the biggest point of emphasis for us, is we got to get in our commits' homes. We got to be around their parents. We got to be around them to know that this is where they need to be. We appreciate them sticking with us. That's not easy. That's uncommon. And them sticking through the process with us. So that was our point of emphasis during that time.
How many of them were you able to go?
I was able to see 5 of them through that time.
Cameron Bates. I mean, like maybe a little bit of a smaller, shiftier wide receiver with a lot of speed, and that's something that it seems like your guys' offense might be. I don't know. I feel like it was missing that element this year. What do you see out of Cameron?
Yeah, I mean, Cameron Bates is explosive with the ball in his hands, and you can not only see that by his 100-meter time, but just watch some game film on him. Explosive guy with the ball in his hand, and which is a big part of what we want to do offensively. And he's going to come in here and develop, and he's just a phenomenal young man. Like you're around him, he's smiling all the time. When we FaceTime this morning, he had a grin that wouldn't change. I mean, he's just that type of kid. He's going to light up a room, and he has a skill set that is going to put defenses in conflict, especially with Ashton Genty, the offensive line, the tight ends, being able to create a lot of run-pass conflicts for them. A guy like Cameron Bates is going to really help to create some of those issues in the perimeter.
Wide receiver and linebacker. It's an interesting combo. It would suggest that he's obviously pretty athletic, I guess. What does Clay bring to the table?
Yeah, very explosive athlete. Kid that plays basketball. If you watch him move around on film, doing drills, obviously playing the game of football, he's an explosive athlete. And he's growing in how he plays linebacker. I think the sky's the limit for him. He's long, he's athletic, and can flat out run. To play linebacker here, you have to be explosive and you have to be able to run. We've got a phenomenal D-line edge players. Those linebackers have to be able to run, and that's something we know we're going to get from Clay. He's going to come in here mid-year. He's going to continue to grow and develop in some of the keys and reads. He played more outside linebacker, and so some of the in-the-box keys and reads is something that he's excited to continue to work in and growing. But he's explosive. He loves football. He's a great kid to be around, has a phenomenal family. Jim and PJ are his parents. They do a great job in guiding him through this process. He's supposed to be here. He knows that. And just like these other commits, never wavered. And he's going to be an awesome guy to get here in January.
He forced a lot of turnovers in high school. What's it about his ability that allows him to be kind of off?
He has a knack for getting the football. And I do believe that some guys have that and some don't. And Trey's a guy that makes big-time plays, can flat out cover, can flat out take a receiver out of a game, but he also finds the ball. If it's through interceptions, he's great at creating turnovers. He's got a knack for getting the football, which is a huge point of emphasis for us going forward.
You mentioned these guys never wavered even through the coaching change. Was that difficult to kind of keep them together, or was that pretty easy where you just say, hey, still want you here, and they said yes, we want you here?
Well, through a lot of it, it's the hard part is as a parent who obviously adores their son and wants them to go to the best place, which at that point they still felt was Boise. We didn't have a lot of answers for them. And that's what I appreciate so much for these parents and these young men, that they walked the path with us. Because there was a lot of those times through that process where we didn't know. I didn't know. And so the same thing when I tell you guys Mondays of game weeks, what's going on. It was just the next game, the next practice. And so that's what we tell these kids. That's what we tell these parents. And so them sticking with this program, that's why I give all the credit to our staff and our current players and how they play on the field, that when these parents, when these recruits would watch us, they were reminded of why they chose Boise State. They were reminded of the love that we have for each other, the hard work, and that's why they committed to this place. And so as they stuck with us going through this, that's why we're endeared to each other, because they're that group. This is that class. This is that group of parents too. That would have been easy for them to say, you know what, there's too much uncertainty. Let's move on. Let's decommit. Let's go find somewhere that's a little bit more sure right now. They didn't do it. They knew where they wanted to be. They knew that this was the best place for them in the country to be developed and grow. And they stuck with us, and we're very proud they did.
You've done a lot of work on the tight end room, obviously, these last couple of recruiting classes. How does Caden kind of factor into what you guys have planned there?
Yeah, Coach Potter's done a phenomenal job in that room. He's done a phenomenal job growing that tight end room and developing our current players. And I could talk about each one of our current ones because I think the sky's the limit for those young men too. Caden, a young man that is a very similar mold mentally to those guys in that room, loves football, has a phenomenal family, and is all about getting to work. He's going to be here in January as well. So excited to get him in the playbook, get him training, get him working, and he fits us. He's explosive, he's athletic, and he can flat out run. And so he's going to create matchup issues for safeties, linebackers, and not only what he has athletically, it's how he's between the ears. And he fits his plays. Coach Potter did a great job finding him, getting him on a trip, and he's been committed with us and has never wavered.
Anything else?
Coach, have you lost any players since the last game? Has anybody told you they're not coming back, or has those conversations happened at all?
I haven't yet, and that's a huge point of emphasis for me is like I said, players that come to Boise State that are developed, that play for us on that blue or whatever stadium we're playing in, we're working our tail off to take care of them. They know they want to be here. They know this is where they're developed. And that is my number one goal as a head coach, is to develop young men and keep them in Boise, Idaho. Because I know in my heart, this is the best place for them. This is the best place for them to be developed to play in the NFL. And if that's not for them, then it's the best place for them to be developed in whatever God has next for them, professionally, as a husband, as a father. And that's my message to them, these parents, because at the end of the day, I believe they feel that in their soul. So to answer your question, now at this point, Mike.
So you feel pretty good at this point forward. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but at this point forward, you might be able to keep the entire roster.
Every minute, every hour, things change, and I'm very aware of that. But I feel confident in my soul that our players feel that way too. And I tell them, you will not find a coach around the country that will work their tail off to keep you here, to keep you motivated, to grow and develop and take care of you than the staff. Like, that's point of emphasis, number one. Everything we do is about our players that are here, growing and developing them, and they know that. They feel that. We're not out there. We want to find the right guys. This group of recruiting class is the right players that fit here, and it's about bringing them into our football program. We are never going to bring anybody in here that could at any point pull away at our locker room. That we're not going to do that, because how close-knit this family is, how much that they have given to us and impacted this place and worked their tail off every day, Mike. I'm owed to that locker room. I'm owed to that our current roster and our current players to make sure these young men that come in know what it's like here, know how hard they're going to have to work to earn everything they get on and off the football field. And our current players know that. Our current players that are playing for us right now and have done a phenomenal job and are coming back because they believe in this, know that the players we're bringing in are going to fit right in that mold.
For winter conditioning?
So January 7th will be our first team meeting. And then obviously January 8th is when we start the spring semester. And then that first week, Mike, will be more meetings. We won't have any mandatory workouts starting that week, and then we'll start the following week.
Do you have a date for spring camp yet?
I don't have it off the top of my head, Mike. I'll make sure you guys get that. I believe it's the second week in March. But off the top of my head, I don't have those exact dates. I'll make sure you guys get those. Yep.
Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
We do have some of the assistants around if you want to.